This is video 9 of the 4th Street Software Baseball 1927 AL project, discussing two new ratings I've introduced for the project, the drag rating and the go rating. The drag rating is going to be used before every plate appearance based on 2d6 and a d20 added together. So the range of numbers possible will be 3 through 32. I won't roll dice before every plate appearance for this. I'll use a random number sheet to generate that number, cutting down on the dice rolls. As the rating shows up, it will show up either as a number from 3 to 32 or as a number with an exclamation mark from 3 to 32. The exclamation mark will indicate that it's that number exclusively. So on Mickey Cochrane, it's 13 exclamation mark. So in his case, the 2d6 and the d20 on the random number sheet must be 13 in order for him to give up his plate appearance and use his bunt column for the outcome of the plate appearance. Likewise, if there is no mark, exclamation mark after the number, then it's a range of numbers from the low end 3 all the way up and including that number. Why did I introduce this? Well, one, I didn't like the hit and run system. I don't like it in any baseball game, but it does occur. It probably occurred frequently in 1927. Two, who's going to bunt with Ruth and Gehrig and Cochrane and the likes without, in a way, being forced to do that and use up their normal types of batter skill sets. If we go to Baseball Reference, we can see that Lou Gehrig, according to Baseball Reference, did bunt ground ball 5 times on the season. Switch it over. Let's see. After raise, let's go back to Gehrig. I don't know if we could see that on the screen at the time. Is that 5? Yeah, bunted ground ball 5. Ruth bunted ground ball 3 times. Cochrane bunted ground ball 12 times. So apparently these guys did give up some of their plate appearances for bunting. I also decided to trigger the injury system via this rating too. If you need to visualize it, potentially there's some sort of nagging small injury that the player can't generate his typical swing. So a swing is going to be different than normally. So when a drag situation does occur, like for Mickey Cochrane on a 13, thereafter also use the injury system of the game to see if he's injured for that following plate appearances. For pitchers, though, they would be injured too often using this, so only do that if they're already at their fatigue rating batters faced. So for Walter, that's 33 batters faced. So if it gets triggered 33 batters faced or beyond, then go ahead and trigger the injury system in addition. Overall, it looked like the simulation managers did this bunting about 3% of the time, but all the settings for the simulation managers are far too difficult to incorporate into a board game. So this is the solution I've decided to come up with for the 27th season. Now, as to go rating, I added that to basically force stolen base attempts to automate it. So that's going to be based on a 2d10, and again, I'll use a random number sheet instead of rolling dice every time. Now that will be triggered when a batter reaches first base, either through a single, a walk, or a hit by pitch. On the season, about 10% of the time, there was a stolen base attempt for the amount of singles, walks, and hit by pitch there were. So we're going to use two D10s for a D100 to trigger this, and we're going to do it after we've already done for the drag rating. So in Mickey's case, he's got a jump rating of 5, a steal rating of 20, and a go rating of 10. So basically 10% of his singles, walks, and hit by pitch, he will attempt to steal a base. So if Mickey walks, gets a single, or is hit by pitch, we'll check this go rating 10% of the time. We will attempt to steal a base. But of course, there could already be men on base ahead of Mickey, so we're going to use the jump rating of the leading runner and not necessarily Mickey as the one stealing the base. In one situation, when there was a man on third ahead, of course a single would have scored him, so if there was a man on third, it will now be, after a walker hit by pitch, a man on first and third. In this case, we'll do a delayed steal of home. We'll steal home before we decide to steal second. This system will do a realistic stolen base attempts if incorporated, even for the likes of Joel Sewell, who I discussed in the previous video, stealing 3 times, getting caught stealing 16 times. Because in hindsight, who's ever going to send Joel Sewell?